The Chiefs have a brand new lineup on both sides of the ball, but on defense in particular. We're going to take an early look right now at what their depth chart is going to look like when we get to the regular season, knowing everybody that they have in camp, who's coming, who's going, and what are the battles that lie ahead. Welcome to RGR Football. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's RGR Football. I'm Ryan. This is me going rogue, particularly this week as Dan's on vacation, so I have the Tuesday video for you. And a lot of folks have been asking me about an early look at the depth chart. We're going to go through it on the defensive side today. We'll take another look at offense probably tomorrow. I have some other clips coming for you. Just basic rounding out of what the draft picks look like, where they are starting first weekend. It's very early in the process, but we got to get through it. Make sure that you like this video. That helps other Chiefs fans see it. Make sure you sub to the channel. That helps us. And make sure you click the bell. That one's for you. That's how you get notified of the next video that comes out. You can support us through Super Chats, whether this is a live replay or live at the time. You can support us through RGR Football, the gear store. That's on every video as well. And check out NFL33.com if you're into the draft and what's going around the league. It's a whole different animal over there. So let's get into it. And I'm going to get this full screen here because I want you all to see it. That means I'm going to have to take down my name, and that's perfectly fine. Nobody needs to see me that much. But I do fit it in the corner there nicely. So here's an early look at what we have on the defensive side of the ball. The guys that are very solidly on the roster are in white. And we'll start at the top, at the back of the defense. That is Juan Thornhill and Deion Bush that they brought in specifically to shore up that safety group. A guy that's played special teams, played some safety as well. He can do a little bit of everything. He can even drop down in the box if you need him. Now, obviously, they acquired Justin Reed, and he's going to be one of the starters as well. I actually list Cook as a starter too. Right now, as I have this laid out, this is what they played the most. This is their nickel defense. They play dime a heavy bit as well. And honestly, the base defense is the least thing that they play in terms of the three big components. That's why I listed it here in nickel with 2 linebackers and 5 DBs rather than the base, which would be different. And Chenal will definitely get there. We'll get to the linebackers in a second. But so right now we're focusing just on two safeties, not 3. If it were 3, Cook would be the third. I clearly believe that. And it's really not much of a question for me. Now, what I have here in red is Anderson. Now, Zane got onto the 53. He played a little bit. He got some exposure. So I think that gives him an edge on everybody else, including Devin Key. And so if you don't see somebody on this list, that means that they're not right now in the mix, in my opinion, to make the 53. There's more than 25 guys on this screen right now. And 25 is about the max that they're going to allow for the defense. So some of these guys won't make it, but I wanted to put it out there in specifics of guys that were in the mix. And so with the safeties done, Anderson being the guy that I think is in the mix, I think he is a candidate for the practice squad right now. The new guy, Naze, he might be in it. I have an idea where he might be. I know they listed him as a safety. I think he's actually nickel corner. We'll see him here in a second because when we drop down the linebacker level, what we have right now is Bolton and Gay are clearly your 2 starters. If they're in the base, that's Chenal. It's not a question. Carter is not a starter in the base defense. That is what Leo was brought here to do, specifically to play that Sam. Now, the nice thing about Chenal is he's played in the middle. So he's also the backup Mike. If you're in 2, he'd be the backup for Nick Bolton because he's called the defense. He's seen it from that angle. That's his kind of thing. A lot of experience there. So that makes perfect sense. So Sam in the base, if he were there, he'd be the backup middle, the second middle. If they platoon out, if they have fatigue, if Nick turns an ankle, whatever it is, what you saw them do when they brought in Ben Neiman, I think that's a possibility for Chenal, but not like in the pass defense, in the run specific fits. Eventually, Chenal might be able to learn to play man coverage. I'm not so certain, but I think he's more athletic than Ben Neiman ever was, and so that gives it a lot of variation of what he could do right now. So his role is not set at this point. And I think that's okay. He's going to grow into it. Now, Carter's a special teams player. That's what I expect him to be. What I have here is I have Rose making this roster because of his pass coverage ability, because he's a guy who can play in the nickel if Gay or Bolden isn't able to. And I think he's proven his instinctual play. Even though he's a UDFA, he's my number one UDFA to make this roster. And I think it's because the linebacker position is weak and he has the innate pass-specific value that you have to have, that I think that gives him the edge. So I have him in white right now. They might only keep 5. And so that would be Darius Harris. There'd be on the edge there. Now, could someone else sneak in? Certainly. But right now, I give Harris the edge. I know Cochran's in there. I know there's a lot of new faces, right? There's 90 guys now. There's some guys that are in this mini camp and this phase 2 that won't even make the training camp roster. So we got to remember that. I'm going with who are the best guys, the guys likely to make the roster or be right there at the cutoff. And that to me is Darius Harris. So then we get to the corners. We start out wide. And this is, again, when it's in the nickel, you're looking at Fenton as the starter right now. Lonnie Johnson's right behind him. They went and traded assets for him, and I do believe he would play on the outside. I know he's played some safety, so you can see him go back there as well. If they decided not to keep Bush, maybe Johnson slides into that backup role there as well and can do kind of double duty. I think right now Bush is safe. We'll see what happens in camp and see who's contributing on special teams. But right now, I would have Fenton over Johnson. That's going to be a battle right there. My thought is right now Fenton has the edge. It depends how well Lonnie adapts. We need to see that. And I can't tell you who's going to have the better feel once training camp starts. So we're just going to have to play it by ear. But right now, that's where I have it. And then the dark horse there is Boodle. I think Boodle, if he takes a big step forward, he can cram his way onto this roster because we're going to see some of the other spots here. Now, in the nickel, I think they want to stick with Snead on the inside. If somebody emerges as another nickel, they could leave him outside. And I think that's a great fit for him. I'd like to see a more nickel-specific guy be in that role. But you never know what's going to happen. So right now I have Snead in there. I think Johnson, Nazi, the new one, the guy who was drafted in the 7th round, they're running him a little bit at safety and a little bit at nickel corner right away. I think that's really intriguing, and he's got the speed and the change of direction that I think he can pull that off. If he emerges, if he catches on real quick, you could see Snead outside all the time, Johnson inside. Now, on the opposite side, McDuffie's been working at nickel as well. So if it ends up that you want Snead on the outside and you have Fenton and Johnson on one side, you could put McDuffie into the nickel and let him run there. I think that's a viable option as well. Backing him up, though, is DeAndre Baker, who I think is probably the guy on the bubble right here of everybody listed in white that is likely to make the roster. Boodle, and then the 2 young guys, Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson, those are the guys breathing down Baker's neck. He's got to hold them off. He's got to show progress and development in order to stay ahead of those 2 guys. That, I think, is going to be a really interesting battle because I don't think Baker's been 100% since his leg injury. He should be coming into camp. So let's see what we get from him. That brings us down to the front. And a lot of talk has been going on about this. There's a lot of options here. Clearly, your starters are Clark Jones, Noddy, and now Karlaftis. I'm perfectly comfortable with that. I'm glad that they're starting Karlaftis. He'll bring new energy. He'll bring new power. I think it allows the linebackers to stay a little bit cleaner, and I think it allows you to run a few more games. He and whoever's going to pass rush the situations are going to be key about getting on the same page, because I think that's something they're going to do very well. I like him inside as well, so running those tight DT twists is going to be fun. Now, Noddy's in the base. Now he's going to play your 1 tech. He'll play a 3 when he has to, but he's a run guy. He's going to be first and second down. He shouldn't be in there on passing downs as much because it's not his thing. The question becomes, Wharton is the number 3. It's clear to me. It is not really much of a question at this point. A lot of folks want to see what Stallworth has, and Stallworth has been a mediocre player until last season. 1 year in Indy, he kind of put it all together, ended up with 22 pressures last year. Now, Saunders played about half as many snaps and ended up with 6 pressures. So he didn't play as much, but in terms of a per snap production, it's similar. Stallworth had definitely the next best beyond Wharton and Jones in terms of pressure potential. So I have him listed right now as the backup, and Saunders on the bubble. And I like Colin Saunders. You guys know that. We have to see if he can put it all together and stay healthy. Those are two things that have to happen for Colin this year, and I'm really interested to see it. Now, obviously, Jones is Jones, and Turk Wharton, I think, has the ability to take a step forward this year. I'm feeling good about him. And then it gets really interesting on the edges. Malik Herring is back. He looks like he's moving well. He hasn't put pads on yet, though, so we can't say that he's a shoe-in for that or he's likely or anything like that. We just don't know. Same thing with Kando. Had the injury. He's the bendiest of all of the Chiefs' ends right now. So you'd like to see them have that aspect as a reserve, a guy you can bring in pass rush situations, a designated pass rusher, if he can put that kind together. I wasn't very impressed with him last year as the season started. His rookie campaign, we knew he was going to need a lot of work. I wanted to see him get it done. The injury prevented that. So what has he done this summer? How has he trained? How has he come along? There's a lot to be seen with Kano. It's a big question mark. And I'm looking forward to seeing those two guys battle a little bit, because on the other side, I've slated Ingram in here already. Knock on wood, I spelled it right. I put this together pretty quick this morning. I think that Melvin is holding out so he doesn't have to go to camp, wants to take it easy, and I don't blame him at his age. You got to do that. You're over 30 as an edge rusher. Take it easy. I think that's fine. He's slated on the Chiefs cap right now at 4.4 because of the UFA tender that they did. And so that's why I felt comfortable putting him on here. Unless another team offers a lot more, they're going to have him on the roster. So I think it's fair to be here. Mike Dana has put in a lot of good reps. He has held things down on first and second down as well. Like if you're going a run-heavy team in particular, Ingram and Noddy can hold it down for you if everybody else can't play. So you feel good there. It's just that he doesn't have the upside in the pass game. He's not explosive enough to, I think, really affect the pass rush. Maybe he's done something in the offseason as well. I think this is a year he could take a step forward. And so that leaves Shalik Calhoun, who's been new to the roster, but was a good edge rusher in college, kind of got lost in the pros. Can he put it together? He still has upside, in my opinion, that he's never reached. So I think it's a possibility he's somebody to watch, but there's a lot of guys here. So he, Kano, and Herring, who can step forward, give them a reason to keep 5 ends? I don't know. Now, the way I have it right now, it's Clark, Karlaftis starters, Ingram, Dana, definitely on the roster as backups, and then it's question mark at edge. So could there be another acquisition? There could be. Could there be a veteran let go because of a draft pick that overwhelms them? That's a possibility too. I think that there are definite possibilities of more additions coming to this roster between now and week 1. So this is just the way that it stands right now. We will update this, and I'll go through it again if we have significant additions here. Edge is one place I would look. I don't know that secondary really is. Right now there's talk of Bradbury. He's been released as we record this. Could it be a linebacker? Possibly. Those are the big 3 that I think really give you a possible signing in the future. They have a little bit of cap space left to go that they can use should they feel that they can upgrade. But right now, this looks like your draft picks that you brought in are going to play significant snaps, at least the bulk of them in what we have here in Karlaftis, Mcduffie, Chenal, Skyy Moore on the other side, Cook. It's 5 starters. More could start. We'll talk about offense here in a day or so. But right now, that's significant contribution from the rookie class on the defensive side, much like we got significant impact from the rookie class on the offensive side last year. So it seems similar to me. So they're all slated in there with the other guys that are best at their positions. This is what it looks like right now. We'll see what happens in OTAs. We'll try not to overreact to that. And then when camp starts, this could get thrown all out of whack. Competition brings out the best in people. I believe that, and I think it will do that again. So, in your opinion, who makes it, who doesn't, who's not on this list that you want to see, and who are you surprised that I put on here as either a guy who will make the 53, those in white, or somebody that has a good chance of being on the bubble and possibly make it in the red, and who wins that dogfight? Kano, Herring down there in the gold. I want to know what you guys think. Leave your comments below. Leave it in the live chat. I'm recording this ahead of time, playing it live so you guys can have the live chat as well. I'm looking forward to your opinions. And we have plenty more coming for you. I'm going to have some updates on each of the guys that are making a contribution at the rookie level. We'll go through those one by one. Those would be those quick hitters. I'll have those for you starting tomorrow, probably. I don't know if I'll squeeze one out today, but I'll try. And then obviously Thursday night is Chief in the North. We're going to do that. Seth and I will break down where we're at to this point as well. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you will be here. That's at 6 Central here live on the channel. So at the end of the day, there's a lot going on. There's a lot that could change still. But this is, I think, a really solid look at a defense that looks to be improving, especially with the draft picks. If everybody continues, everybody slots in where I think they will, this is going to be a heavy contribution from a bunch of rookies. And we'll have to take the ups and downs with that as well. But that's where they stand right now. Let me know what you guys think. Like, sub, hit the bell if you're new to us. And make sure if you are one of the Discord members and you're one of the rookie members or not members, you can join anytime. Just get the rookie level or above and you get into the Discord. Get in there and mix it up a little bit because I think there's a lot of good discussion going on in there as well. So that's it for me right now. I'll be back with more here in a little bit and definitely